So you want to be a Viking, do you? Well, there's more to being a Viking than swinging a sword or rowing a boat. Have you ever heard of Yggdrasil, the Tree of Life? Well, when I come down here in the daytime and I set up shop, this is Yggdrasil to me. I simply take this tree and I set up shop. I have my bag hanging from it, and I've got my milk bottle there. Love drinking milk, I'll tell you. Vikings like milk, and they like cheese. I've got cheese and grapes hanging in that bag there, just like having a pantry. I've got my bow bag there, and I've got a little notebook on top of it, and a watch, and a pen. Oh, and there's Zeb, and some arrows. So, anyhow, I use this little tree to set up like an office, home sweet home, out in the woods. Oh, and don't forget, it was raining a little bit, so I hung my umbrella up from the branches. Isn't this a happy little place, eh? I'll tell you, there's more to being a Viking than just swinging an axe. Okay, boys, let's go for it. Okay, my friends, I'm going to take a couple of shots. The thing about holding arrows in your hand gets a lot more tired than if you've got them in a quiver, because your hand never gets to relax. So that's one thing about it. It comes in handy though, you know. I can see why hunters would use it. So you know, if you need 3 arrows, you're probably not that good anyhow. I'm going to explain something to you here. Okay, so the other day I was shooting, and I'm using this arrow here. Now, this arrow, I'll show you. This arrow, if I put it at the same length, you can see that this arrow is shorter. That's because it's wood, and I've broken it off 3 times and put on another point. Okay, so now we can see that it's lower, okay? But what we're talking about here is judging elevation. Now watch. If I turn this around so that you can see it, yeah, okay. Now, let's say we were anchoring at the corner of our mouth and we're using a gap line up here. Now, you can see that the shorter arrow actually is shorter than this spot here. So if I want to get it to the same elevation, I will raise it up to there. Now both points are at the same elevation, okay? And so now I shoot. Now here's the problem. If we turn it sideways, we can see that the shorter arrow is on a much higher angle. In other words, if I use the same bow and those 2 arrows, if I use the same gap, I'm gonna shoot right over the target with this guy, okay? So the length of your arrow is important, and I'm telling you something, when your arrow is longer, your gap is lower. If you have to raise up your arrow and it's short, you'll find that you've got to put your gap way down there. So a longer arrow has a smaller gap. If you're using a really heavy arrow, this is 625 grains out of a 43-pound bow. That's a heavy arrow. But I'm using a long arrow, a heavy arrow, and I'm bopping the target. Short arrows, short light arrows, we think, oh, they're fast, oh, isn't that great? Bigger gap, harder to shoot. So we often outsmart ourselves because we're human. We're very intelligent, you know. Right? Okay. Anyhow, if you do that, and you know, you can take a few quick shots and you'll bop the target. Okay? Long arrows, heavy arrows, good stuff. Have fun. Okay, now this time we've got some arrows stuck in the ground here. You'll notice that there's dirt on the end of that point. And you can sort of see a little bit of dirt on that. And again, a little bit of, just a little bit of dirt on that side of that one. And then again, here we've got a leaf on this one. I know I just put it on there, but just so that you can see. And if the leaf's in my way, well, we'll shoot the leaf right off the arrow. Because, you know, okay. Just a little leaf on his belly button. Okay, let's have a little chat here about ebb. I got a email from Jamie at Raven's Beak Nature Works. That's where this bow was made. Jamie makes pretty good bows, and he was saying, you know, couldn't I say something nice about the bow? It might help his family out, you know. So if you're going to buy a bow like this, buy it from Jamie. Anyhow, this is ebb. Ebb, I just use a regular fist meal. I don't know what it is. It's just that much. The bow has taken on a little bit of set. A very little bit. This bow is shot about 30,000 shots now, because I keep a journal. It's right around 30,000. It's shooting, I'm shooting better than the day I got it. It's shooting real good too. Okay? The knocks are fine. You'll notice on this knock, when Jamie put it on, it's actually off to the side slightly crooked. And yet, the string is dead center. I don't know what kind of finish he puts on these bows, but it's been out in the snow and out in the rain, out in the sun, out in the humidity, and it's been out everywhere except I don't leave it out overnight. Anyhow, real good bow. Jamie is a really excellent bowyer, knows his stuff. These bows have nice little narrow tips, you'll notice. Makes a longbow shoot fast. I'm not quite sure what else to say about it. Good bow. Jamie's the guy. Raven's Beak Nature Works out in British Columbia. Oh, and it's Pacific U. And I'm finding that it's a lot better than the European U these days. European U is old and dried up and cracking and stuff. This is alive and springy. Real good. Anyhow, there's a little plug for you, Jamie. So have fun. Take care. And in the meantime, what we were doing was taking a few shots. And that's what we got. Oh yeah, so and the leaf stayed on there. Anyhow, you guys have fun. Talk to you in a minute. Oh boys, I'll tell you boys, Mother Nature never saw a child she didn't like. As for the women, do not mar the women. They will fetch a pretty price in Constantinople. The Turks pay well for them. And the men, those that fight well, will give the opportunity to join us. The rest go to the market. Remember, Mother Nature never saw a child she didn't like. No, that's how we will take care of prisoners. And for the rest, this is what we'll do. Okay, now, so don't be afraid to miss. Don't be afraid to experiment. If you experiment, you will miss. About a week ago, I was practicing drawing parallel, relaxing, and then drawing parallel, and bringing everything, backhand, right hand, to the left. I was getting some good hits, but I was getting some good misses too. So it takes about 3 days to change your style. It takes a little while. You've got to experiment. If you experiment, lots of planes today. If you experiment, you're going to miss. That's okay. Accept that fact. It's part of the hobby. When I was missing last week, a friend was here and I was missing and stuff like that. It was kind of embarrassing. So there's a tendency to go back to the regular old thing. I didn't do it. I kept on shooting. And if I could shoot that plane down, yeah, you're right. I would. I'd shoot him down right now. Damn good thing I can, isn't it? Okay? Whether there's distractions, airplanes, you're talking and all kinds of bullshit, you're explaining things, don't be afraid to miss, okay? And even with all the distractions, if you do that and you practice for a while, because I'll tell you something, if you're in battle, there's going to be a lot more than just little airplanes around. Have fun and think about that one. Okay, now we'll do a little bit of shooting. The steps that I'm taking are I'm holding the point on. Okay, so the tip is right on the point of aim or the gap. I'm holding like it's in a vise. I'm pressing forward, but I'm holding it still. Taking my time. As the arrow comes back, you'll see my arm come in. That's coming in and straightening out that arrow. Very important. bring my elbow to the left. You have to feel the pressure from your elbow, or it just won't go straight. Okay, so that's what we're doing. I'm looking at the point and I'm putting it right on. See that dirt on that point because it was stuck in the ground? That's an infection about to happen. Anyhow, the point goes right on, okay? Now, as I draw back, you saw how my arm, so I bring my elbow in, and that makes that arrow go straight, okay? And now I'll just continue on, and as I continue on, and I'm looking at that target, I'll move my head until I'm looking straight down that arrow, and I know that that knock is going to come back to here. My arm is all the way back, and the pressure's hanging from my elbow, and I have transferred the pressure onto the front hand. Okay? And that's basically it. Those are the steps. So that's your little lesson for today. And if you take those steps, you'll bop the target. Okay, guys, pay attention to that. Okay. Vikings understand the spirit of nature. They understand Mother Nature. Mother Nature. For me, that's just another word for science. Evolution, Darwin. That's Mother Nature. The world is round. When I talk about Mother Nature, I'm thinking of molecules, trains, things you can touch and feel, satellites, the stars, the sun, gravity. That's Mother Nature. She's real. Mother Nature is not written in a book. She's all around us. Vikings understand the spirit of nature. Okay? So when I talk about Mother Nature and how Mother Nature never saw a child she didn't like, that's what I'm talking about. Evolution and dinosaurs. And the world was not always here, and it will not always be here. Enjoy your days. This is all you get. This is heaven. This is a wonderful place. A wonderful place if you're a Viking and you understand the spirit of nature. Okay now. And you know, when you're on board ship and you get seasick, it's not always that much fun being a Viking. Okay, boys. Have some fun. Take care. Okay, now so it's starting to get a little bit dark. Sun's getting real low over there. We've got a target here about 28 yards. And just having a bit of fun. There's so many little steps taken in aiming with the elbow and the hand and the hold on and getting the eye behind it and relaxing your right side and stuff like that. It's a lot to be able to do. You have to be able to feel your shot. You know, what does that mean? How do you describe feelings with words, you know? That's about it. Okay, so anyhow, I took 4 shots there. Wooden arrow. Broke the tip off today. They just fracture, you know, they just go in and they take the shock so many times and finally it just emulsifies. But anyhow, I guess that's about it for today. I hope you had a good time. Hope I didn't say anything too outrageous, too offensive. Vikings can be like that. Okay, anyhow, you guys go have some fun and I'll talk to you later. And there's our parting shot for the day. Anyhow, there's our hits. Okay, guys. Off you go. Have some fun. Take care now.